Okay, for number 2, they want us to find the center and the radius, but what we notice is this problem that's given to us is not written in the standard form. So that's our first thing we have to do, is put it in standard form. That way we can tell the center and the radius. Once we have that information, then we can graph it. So with this, what we're going to do is we have to do complete the square on this one. So first I'm going to put the x's and the y's together. So x squared plus 12x. Now I'm going to leave a space here because we're going to do the complete the square steps, and we're going to be adding a number here. So I'm going to leave a space for that. And then I'm going to do y squared minus 14y. Once again, I'm going to leave a space. And then the 68, I want to put that on the other side of the equation. Okay, so now I have it set up and I'm ready to do complete the square steps. So just to review, complete the square steps, what you do is you take the number in front of the non-squared variable. So we're going to take the 12. You're always going to divide it by 2 and square it. Those are all the same 2 steps you're going to do. Divide that by 2, we get 6. 6 squared is going to be 36. So I'm going to add 36 there. But I'm also going to add 36 to the other side of the equation as well. I have to make sure the equation is balanced. So that's a very important step. Whatever you add here, you have to add the same thing to the other side, otherwise you're changing the equation. Let's do complete the square with this next one. Negative 14, we divide that by 2, you get negative 7. You're going to square negative 7 and you get positive 49. So plus 49 here, plus 49 over here on the other side. So we're doing that to both sides. The whole reason for doing this is because since you're doing the complete the square, that's going to guarantee that you get something that looks like this. You get a quantity squared. So I have, this is x here, and this is going to be y. And so you have x with something quantity squared, y with something quantity squared. Now the number that goes inside here, you could factor this the normal way, but the shortcut way is the first step of the complete the square, we took half of that number. That's the number that's going to go inside the parentheses here. So if I take 12, divide by 2, I get 6, which means there'll be a plus 6 that'll go inside there. If I take negative 14, half of that is negative 7. That's the number that goes inside the parentheses there. So automatically that's going to work every time. Half of this term is the number that goes inside there. Then all we have to do is add all this up on the other side. So if I add all that together, then what we end up getting is 17. Okay. Now we've actually put this in the proper form. This is our standard form where we can now tell what the center and the radius is. So to find the center, once we have it in the standard form, you're going to take the opposite sign of each number that you have inside the parentheses. So here you're going to do negative 6 and positive 7. It's always opposite sign of both of those. Next, we have to find the radius. That has to do with this number after the equal sign. Your radius is always going to be the square root of the number after the equal sign. So in this case, the radius is going to be the square root of 17. Now, you probably want to get a decimal for that because you'll need a decimal in order to do the graph. Okay, so if you're able to do a decimal that's a little bit more than 4, so about 4.1, 4.2, somewhere around there is what it's equal to. And the test itself, square root is fine, but for graphing purposes, we need this. So I have all this information down here. I'm ready now to do the graphs. Let me go ahead and erase this here to get some space, and I'll do the graph right here. All you need for the graph is your center and the radius, which is what we have. So first we're going to plot our center. So we're going to go negative 6 and positive 7. And we get a dot right there. Okay. Then we look at the radius. Now the radius is a little bit more than 4. So from here, we're going to go up, down, left, and right an amount of 4. And that gives us 4 points that we can connect and make our circle. So we don't have to make any tables or worry about any equations. We're just working all of it with the center and the radius. So from here, we're going to go up 4, and a little bit more than that. So a little bit more than 4 will be about right here. We're going to go down 4. That's about right there. We're going to go a little bit more than 4 to the left, a little bit more than 4 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that means it puts us up about right here. So we have our 4 points. We can connect those, and that's going to give us our circle. So that's where it's going to end up being up here in the second quadrant. Now this does fall outside the grid that you have on the test. On the actual test, I'll make sure that your grid, make sure it encloses the entire circle. This particular one is a little bit off our grid that was provided in the sample test, but the actual test, you'll be able to put the whole thing on single graph.